Imagine being immortal. Sounds amazing, right? You can't die. Nothing can stop you. You're basically a walking, talking, metal-boned nightmare that heals from everything. Cool. Now imagine watching every single person you ever loved die, one by one, while you just keep going. Still sounds amazing? Yeah, didn't think so. Wolverine is supposed to be the coolest guy in any room. 6 retractable metal claws, a skeleton coated in the most indestructible metal on the planet, a healing factor that laughs in the face of literally every weapon ever invented. The man got stabbed through the chest once, and his response was essentially, "Okay, are we done?" That's not a superpower. That's a personality type. And look, on paper, being Wolverine sounds incredible. You're basically unkillable. You heal from everything. You have built-in weapons you never have to sharpen or reload. You never get sick. You never get tired. You age so slowly that you've been walking around looking like a ruggedly handsome 40-year-old for about 150 years. That last part alone should be enough to make any normal person furious with envy. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Here's the part they leave out of every comic book, every movie poster, every action figure box. Being immortal doesn't mean you get to live forever. It means you get to lose everyone forever, over and over and over again, for eternity. And that, my friend, is the specific, exhausting, deeply unfair nightmare of being Wolverine. Let's get into it. Let's start with something that sounds like a superpower but is actually a curse, wrapped in a curse, wrapped in another curse. Wolverine has been alive for over 150 years, which means he has over 150 years of memories. You know how sometimes you cringe at something embarrassing you did in high school? That one moment that hits you at 2 a.m. and makes you want to pull a blanket over your face forever? Now imagine that, but instead of one embarrassing memory from high school, it's 150 years of trauma, wars, losses, experiments, betrayals, all of it permanently accessible, all of it never fading. Normal people get to forget things. Time heals wounds for regular humans. Memories blur, pain softens, you move on. Wolverine's healing factor heals everything except the memories. His brain is perfectly preserved. Every loss as sharp as the day it happened. Every person he watched die, still there, still vivid, still real. And the one time someone actually wiped his memories? He spent decades desperately trying to get them back, because even painful memories are better than nothing. Even a history full of trauma is better than not knowing who you are. That's not a superpower. That's the world's most brutal filing system with no delete button. Now let's talk about the thing that defines Wolverine more than his claws, more than his healing factor, more than any of it. The fact that the government kidnapped him, strapped him to a table, and coated his entire skeleton in adamantium. The process alone should have killed him. It should have been impossible to survive. The pain would have been so overwhelming that a normal person's heart would simply stop. And Wolverine's healing factor, the thing that makes him unkillable, is the only reason he survived it. So to be clear, the only reason he survived having his bones coated in metal is the same power that was the reason they chose him for the experiment in the first place. He was tortured because he could survive being tortured. That's not lucky. That's the cruelest possible use of a superpower. And when it was over, when they had turned him into the perfect weapon, they wiped his memories. So he didn't even get to keep the trauma. He just woke up as a different person, in a body that had been fundamentally violated, with no idea who he used to be. Okay, here's the big one. The one that sounds amazing in theory and is absolutely devastating in practice. Wolverine cannot die. Normal people hear that and think, amazing, lucky, what a gift. And look, I get it. On the surface, immortality sounds incredible. You get to see everything, experience everything, watch history unfold in real time, live through inventions and revolutions and moments that change the world. But here's what nobody thinks about when they're fantasizing about immortality. Everyone else dies. Every single person you ever love. Think about the people in your life right now. Your family, your friends, the people who know your weird habits and love you anyway. Imagine watching all of them get old and die while you stay exactly the same. Imagine going to funeral after funeral after funeral. Imagine making new friends knowing, fully knowing from experience, that you're going to outlive them too. Wolverine has done this for 150 years. He has buried more people than most humans will ever meet. He has loved people and watched them age and die while he healed from every scratch and kept going, unchanged, into the next decade and the next century. And it doesn't get easier. That's the part people don't understand. You'd think after the first few decades you'd develop some kind of emotional callus, some protection, some distance. You don't. Every loss is still a loss. Every person is still a person. The grief doesn't stop accumulating just because you've had practice. Wolverine carries 150 years of grief in a body that refuses to break down. He is the world's most indestructible storage unit for loss. And he keeps going. Because what else is there to do? The relationships that never work out. Let's talk about love. Because this is where being Wolverine gets genuinely, specifically heartbreaking in a way that is honestly hard to look at directly. Every person Wolverine has ever loved has either died, been taken from him, or been put in danger specifically because of him. Jean Grey, gone. Multiple times in multiple terrible ways. Every love interest, every friend, every person he let himself care about. The universe has treated Wolverine's emotional connections like a personal challenge to destroy as efficiently as possible. And here's what makes it worse. Wolverine knows this. He has learned from experience, long, painful, repeated experience, that loving someone means putting them at risk, that getting close to someone means eventually watching them get used against him, or hurt because of him, or simply lost to time while he keeps walking. So what does he do? He keeps people at arm's length. He's gruff. He's antisocial. He acts like he doesn't care because caring has a cost he's paid too many times. But here's the thing about Wolverine. Underneath all that, he cares more than almost anyone. He cares about the kids at the school. He cares about his teammates. He is, when you strip away all the metal and the claws and the attitude, a profoundly loyal person who has been punished repeatedly for that loyalty. The tough guy act isn't armor. It's scar tissue. Built up over 150 years of learning that loving something is the fastest way to lose it. Real quick, can we talk about the claws? Because everyone thinks the claws are cool. And they are, objectively. 6 retractable blades made of indestructible metal shooting out of your knuckles on demand? Cool. But they come out through his skin. Every single time. Every time Wolverine pops his claws, which happens constantly in basically every situation, they punch through the skin on the back of his hands. And then when he retracts them, the wounds close up. Because healing factor. But here's the thing. The healing factor closes the wound. It does not mean there was no wound. It does not mean there was no pain. Every time. Every single time. For his entire life. Imagine having a superpower where every time you used it, you had to hurt yourself first. That's not a superpower. That's a subscription service with a very bad terms and conditions page that you can never cancel. And on top of that, the adamantium in his skeleton, it's slowly poisoning him. The indestructible metal that makes him nearly impossible to kill is also very slowly killing him. His own healing factor is the only thing keeping the poisoning at bay. He is in a permanent stalemate between the thing destroying him and the thing keeping him alive. His greatest strength and his greatest weakness are the same object, bolted to his bones, forever. One more thing, because this one really gets me. Wolverine has spent most of his life being used by governments, by organizations, by people who looked at his powers and saw a weapon rather than a person. Weapon X didn't see a man. They saw a delivery system for adamantium, a test subject, a resource. And even after all of that, even after escaping, even after building something like a life for himself, he kept getting pulled back into situations where his value was primarily defined by his willingness to be the one who does the thing nobody else wants to do. The dirty job, the dangerous mission, the thing that requires someone who can take the damage and keep going. That's Wolverine's role. Not the hero who gives the inspiring speech, not the one who gets the credit, the one who gets sent into the situation that might kill anyone else and is expected to walk out the other side. He is the most durable tool in the shed. And tools don't get thanked, they just get used. And the absolute worst part? He keeps showing up. He keeps doing it. Because underneath all the cynicism and the attitude and the 150 years of being used, he still believes it matters. He still shows up for the people who need him. That's not stupidity. That's not weakness. That's the specific tragedy of a good person who has been treated like a weapon for so long that he sometimes forgets he was ever anything else. So here's where we land. Wolverine is one of the greatest characters ever created. The attitude, the claws, the pure, stubborn refusal to stay down no matter what hits him. All of that is real, and all of that is genuinely iconic. But the life? The actual lived reality of being that person? 150 years of memories that never fade. A skeleton that was violated without his consent. An immortality that doesn't protect the people he loves, only him. Relationships that end in grief. Claws that hurt every single time. A healing factor that keeps him alive just long enough to lose more people. And through all of it, the wars, the experiments, the losses, the grief, he keeps going. Not because it's easy, not because he's fine, but because stopping was never really an option for him. Logan doesn't heal because he's lucky. He heals because the universe apparently decided that this particular person needed to feel everything for as long as possible. And somehow, after everything, he still shows up. That's either the most heroic thing imaginable, or the saddest. Honestly, it might be both. Drop a comment. Did this one hit different? And tell me which character should be next because I've got a list and nobody is safe. Like and subscribe if Wolverine deserved better, which he absolutely obviously did. Yeah, that's why being Wolverine actually sucks.